one of the great things that started happening after Katrina is really assessing our vulnerabilities and how we can strengthen our power delivery system for our customers.
Yes.
So we had 13 substations flood during Katrina. If you're not familiar with power delivery, the power goes from the plant to the sub, transmission to the sub to distribution to your house, right? Okay. And so when the subs go out, Dirk was talking about being a substation coordinator. You've got to get that on and then you start worrying about getting the service back to the homes. And so when they flooded, they realized we've got to elevate these. And so since then, we've elevated our substations. We also started doing a lot of work to automate our system. Okay. And so now today we have, we were close to this in 2020 as well, but today we have more than 96% of our customers on a self-healing network.
You want me to try to explain that real quick?
Yeah, you're the pro on this. You tell about this, yeah.
Hi, y'all, and welcome back to our Century Check-In podcast brought to you by Century Bank, where we take banking personally. Today, in the month of August, coming up on the 20-year anniversary of Katrina, we thought this would be a great time to have an episode about storm prep, hurricane awareness, things like that. So we just wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about that. So our special guests today are from Mississippi Power. I'm so happy to have y'all. So we have Kaila Moran and Dirk Turner, and I'm going to let them kind of tell a little bit about their story, who they are, what they do at the company, things like that. Kaila, we'll start with you.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for having us today. We're excited to be here and to be in Lucedale and talking to your audience. So like you said, my name's Kaila Moran. I've been at Mississippi Power now for about 6.5 years. Okay. Third generation Mississippi Power.
That's what Dirk told us.
Yes, granddaughter and daughter of Mississippi Power linemen. So
you know all things hurricane preparedness.
That's right. It's power delivery is very close to my heart. I've lived it my whole life. And so now to be at the company means a lot. So excited to be here today to talk about really all things Mississippi Power, but certainly storm preparation.
Okay, great. All right, Dirk. I know about you, but you tell everybody else about you.
All right. So my name is Dirk Turner. I'm the local manager here of Lucedale. I've been with the company for 19 years with Mississippi Power, and I have done numerous storm restorations in my career, and I truly enjoy it, helping people out when they're in times of need. So I'm glad to be here. So thank you, Jen.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I'm so glad to have y'all. Yeah. So when Stacy and I were talking about this episode, we were kind of trying to see which way we wanted to go. There's so many things to talk about. So not just hurricane, of course, that's what we focus on here. But as we were talking to Dirk, a couple of days ago, there's ice storms, there's, all kinds of storm preparedness. But for this episode, I kind of wanted to focus a little bit more on hurricane preparedness, just because that's what hits home to us. That's what we're really in tune to around here. So let's talk about a little bit first. Let's just talk about who you are to the company and what you actually do. Kind of just, detail on that a little bit.
Absolutely. So I work in corporate engagement that encompasses public relations and internal executive external communications. Okay. The cool thing when we talk about storm at Mississippi Power that many people may not realize is that every single Mississippi Power employee has a storm role. That's every single one. Okay. So of course everyone thinks of people like Dirk, right? Because you're in the bucket, you're getting the lights back on. We need Dirk to get the lights on. But we serve 23 counties up through Southeast Mississippi, roughly 1,000 employees, and every single one has a storm role. And that storm role may be different than what you do on a day-to-day basis. So my storm role gets to stay the same because I'm all about communicating to customers. I want to make sure that our customers know what's going on, what is the latest and greatest, especially during a storm restoration. Right. So that stays the same. But you may have someone that works at our general office in accounting driving a forklift, moving materials. You have people that work in logistics, right? So if Dirk is getting the lights back on, where is he going to sleep? Where is he going to eat? How is he going to be able to get some, downtime, brief downtime, not a lot, Dirk,
no
sorry.
doubt.
But just
only a few
enough to
hours.
keep him safe to be able to get those lights back on. So you have to have people that set up staging sites, that move material. There's just a lot that goes into it. So when we talk about storm, we all, literally every single person has to play a role to help get those lights back on for customers.
To be successful. So truly team effort is what it takes.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. So, Dirk, you've been here locally as the local manager for how long?
I've been working here in Lucedale for 19 years. I've been the local manager now for 6.
6.
Yes.
So 19 years with Mississippi Power. We're coming up on the anniversary of Katrina, but you were already in power line work, right?
I have been building power lines for 25 years now.
Okay.
Yes. And so my job whenever a storm hits, so we have what we call substation and feeder restoration coordinators. And so that would be my role. And so basically what I would do is initially right after a storm is hit, I will go out and analyze the storm, the damage. And so what we'll do is we take that data and it shows us how many men that we required to have and also how much material. It's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, just like when Zeta hit, I think we had 250 men here.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so not counting tree trimmers, that's just linemen from Chicago.
Right. So y'all do partner with other...
We partner, yes, we do. Okay. And so like before a storm hits, say if there's a tropical storm in the Gulf, and we analyze how large that storm is and what kind of impact it will make on our community here. And so that determines how many people that we bring in. But we'll have people on site riding the storm out.
Oh, wow.
So those preparations start, certainly a few days out if you start hearing about it on the news, but really anything like Dirk says, if something forms and we think it may enter the Gulf, certainly when it does enter the Gulf, that's when our storm directors start meeting. We have a storm center. We can get into that when we talk about the Katrina anniversary as well. But the benefit to our customers is that, one, we're a part of Southern Company. So we've got 2 built-in sister utilities, Georgia Power, Alabama Power, that are going to be right there. If they're not getting impacted, they come to us. If we're not going to be impacted, we go to them.
That's right.
Okay.
And then outside of that, we're also part of a mutual assistance program across really the entire Southeast, certainly, sometimes the country. And depending on how impactful that storm is, that's when you start seeing a lot of different resources come in. But it's really helpful to be a part of that mutual assistance program because we have those talks. We stage people ahead of the storm so that there's not this long delay of getting to work. We can get to work as soon as it's safe to do so.
Yeah. So talking about Katrina specifically, so I know I was kind of prepping for this episode and looking. So it said on Google, of course, that after Katrina, every home business that was connected to Mississippi Power were without power.
Every single
right
one
at
of our
200,000. Is that
so
right?
at the first time in history, every single customer with Mississippi Power was without lights.
Wow.
Yes.
But what was it, Kayla? It was 12 days after the storm.
That's right.
That
Every
power
single
was restored to every single customer that could take power,
That
not
could
the
get
people
it.
that continued to have damage.
Right.
But everybody that could take power, 12 days after the storm, they had power.
That's right. And what was so significant about that is that, of course, Hancock County across the entire Gulf Coast was really, the ground zero when we talk about Hurricane Katrina. But like I said earlier, we serve 23 counties. And so they felt impacts as soon as the storm was crossing over the coastline. Meridian was already feeling impacts. And so every single one of our customers, went in the dark. And that was because of just how catastrophic that storm was, not just on the distribution line, so the lines that serve your house, but we had transmission towers down.
Substations.
We had substations that had flooded. We had Plant Watson totally out, and that is, our generating facility. That's where the power comes from.
In Gulf, is that Gulfport?
That's in Gulfport,
That's in
and that was
Gulfport.
actually our storm center. So when you think about the critical functions, the big storm directors, they were at Plant Watson, and that took on. I think it was anywhere from 16 to 19 million gallons of water.
Yeah, it was
the
unreal.
19-foot basement where all the critical equipment was totally flooded.
Wow.
And so you had every customer out. And our culture, I think at the time, the culture at Mississippi Power is really unique. We have principle-centered leadership. That's kind of how we function. That had been in place for about 10 to 15 years. That really rallied our employee base to be able to, get to work. And so on top of our employees coming in, and these are employees that lost their home or they went through really difficult times. They still came in. We grew our storm team from 1,200 employees to 12,000.
Yes, that's right.
So we had 23 states and Canada, I think Mexico maybe as well, send crews to come help. And that's how we were able to get the lights on in 12 days.
She's talking about with our employees coming in. So we have a program like when a major disaster hits with us and all of our employees are having to come in, we've got damage to our homes as well. Well, we got crews that goes out, and if we got damage to our roofs, they will take care of our roof while we're at work. They will put tarps on it and take care of it, so we don't have to worry about our family living in a house with rainwater coming in.
Right. That's awesome.
And really the point of that kind of started, I think, right before Katrina, and that's not to prioritize like, we got to get our roof on. It's so that people like Dirk can get in the community and get your lights back on.
So that we can get our employees out there providing service.
Well, you got to take care of your people because you're paying them to take care of your customers.
That's right. So our customers have to come first. And so, when I talk about everybody having a storm roll, that means everybody has a family storm plan.
Yes.
I know your family's used to it. My family, we did. It's immediate. It's like, see you on the other side, And so you don't have time to sit there and secure your home or go check on it after. You get to work, and that's the expectation across all employees is when we get called to storm duty, you show up and you get to work for our customers. And we've been doing that. I haven't mentioned it. We're in our 100th year of service at Mississippi Power.
I can't remember how many days it was that I did not see my home whenever Katrina hit.
During Katrina.
Yeah. It was, and we've been doing it a long time, 100 years of storms. But Katrina really was, that was, you had Camille in the 60s. My grandpa worked that storm. And we had Katrina in 2005. My dad was a lineman then. And so, that was kind of the signature moment, for everybody to really recognize this is changing the life of the people across, Mississippi, Louisiana, and so everybody showed up. We learned a lot from that storm, and a lot of the lessons that came out of Katrina, I guess that's maybe a silver lining, is that now we're in a stronger place today to serve our customers than we were 20 years ago.
Right.
I want to brag on our company real quick, and brag just not on our company, but our other southern companies here. I've worked from storms from Texas to New Jersey, and there's no one else that handles storms like our company does.
Well, that's good.
Southern Company is probably the best that I've ever seen. Yeah. From Texas to New Jersey, no doubt.
Yeah. So I was working here at the bank during Katrina, and of course we're not getting the power back on, but we got the other part
critical
that everybody's got to have their.
That's right.
How am I going to get some money? What am I going to do? So yes, I very well remember standing out in the blazing hot sun, talking to people as the line is. We're just letting them in 2 and 3 at a time to get some money, do the things they need. We had a branch that was actually severely damaged, so that one was not functioning. So there's all kinds of, like you said, logistics that go into trying to figure out how you're going to get around that, how you're going to service that area, things like that. So it is a lot. I'm glad that y'all actually have a proactive plan that not only services your customers, but it services your employees. That shows how much you care, about the people that you have working for you.
So our job is extremely dangerous.
It is.
It's extremely dangerous. And so if we're trying to perform our job and worrying about everything back home, then we're not focused on what we need to be focused on. And so it could get extremely dangerous out there. You could get somebody hurt, or it could be even fatal. So that takes the care and the worries off of us if we knew our families took care of.
That's right.
So Mississippi Power, they go way above and beyond to provide for their customers, even to help the employees, to where they can provide for the customers, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. I didn't want to also focus just solely on Katrina. I noticed, or it came to my attention in talking to some of my girls that work for me up front who are younger, in their early 20s, who maybe were here during Katrina, but they were a tiny little baby. They don't remember anything. But so I was like, well, kind of like when Zeta came. So, I was like, well, maybe we need to touch on that just a little bit.
Absolutely.
So between it, speak a little bit to the difference in how you felt like. Of course, they weren't the same kind of storm. We know that. But just as far as preparedness and action plan from Katrina to Zeta?
Yeah. So a lot of, that was 5 years. So about 15 years after Katrina. And you're right, Zeta has been probably our other most significant storm. We had, I think, every customer south of the interstate was out at that time. And we were able to turn that restoration, I want to say 4 to 5 days, to get a significant amount of our customers back online after that storm. One of the great things that started happening after Katrina is really assessing our vulnerabilities and how we can strengthen our power delivery system for our customers.
Yes.
So we had 13 substations flood during Katrina. If you're not familiar with power delivery, the power goes from the plant to the sub, transmission to the sub to distribution to your house, right? Okay. And so when the subs go out, Dirk was talking about being a substation coordinator. You've got to get that on and then you start worrying about getting the service back to the homes. And so when they flooded, they realized we've got to elevate these. And so since then, we've elevated our substations. We also started doing a lot of work to automate our system. Okay. And so now today we have, we were close to this in 2020 as well, but today we have more than 96% of our customers on a self-healing network.
You want me to try to explain that real quick?
Yeah, you're the pro on this. You tell about this, yeah.
All right, self-healing network. So we take the intersection at McDonald's.
Okay.
All right, if something happens there, our system will de-energize that one section between John Deere and Coward Street.
Okay.
And then re-energize it from another way by itself without me even doing anything.
Okay. So there's like a bypass type of thing? Or?
Well, so what it is a complete a loop. We call it a loop feed. Okay. And so both of our substations are tied together. So what it will do, it will de-energize the section that has the damage at it, but it will heat everybody else back up from another way by itself. I don't have to do nothing.
Okay, and that is something new.
That's automated.
That's been, and it's taken time. It's been years to get to the point that we are today. But the benefit to that is, of course, during a hurricane, but even during all the pop-up storms that we've been seeing, the lightning and all that we've seen this summer, if it's able to isolate that outage, that means y'all don't have to go ride those lines and figure out where the trouble is. It isolates it down, gets the most customers it can back up, and then the crews can focus on what that root cause is.
Instead of you being out, just McDonald's will be out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Good. Yeah.
That's
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I can do with that.
So it just helps us work more efficiently, quicker, right? It's shorter outages. That's fewer outages that customers can see. And then again, when we get in a storm situation, when you have something like a Hurricane Zeta, a Hurricane Katrina, when it's something that significant, you're going to expect outages. I mean, we can't foolproof Mother Nature, right? We can do our best, but if you've got things like that in place, if you've elevated substations, we've also done a lot of switching from wooden poles to concrete and steel. So Dirk, how long does it take to replace a pole?
Oh, it's according to what's on it, but it could take hours.
Hours, right?
Hours.
So if your pole is still standing and it's just wire, that cuts down significantly on time. And so looking at what are the most storm-prone areas that we see in our service territory and on those mainline feeders and replacing those with concrete and steel so that even when you've got, high, quick, fast winds like you see during Zeta, the wire may be down, but the pole's still standing.
Yeah.
So then the crews, and that's quicker. You're
so
getting lights on
and I
quicker.
totally can relate to that. Because so actually my power was out longer during Zeta than it was Katrina because the poles were down and the transformer was completely down.
Yeah.
So yes, it was.
Y'all had multiple poles.
We had multiple poles. Yes, we did.
Yeah. And so, it's one of those things we're used to that, if you've lived here any amount of time, the weather that we get here can be, wacky, right? It can get severe really quick. We've seen lightning. We have hurricanes. We have tropical systems. We got snow this year. I mean,
right.
So it's like you literally never know what to expect. But all the investments that we make in our system is just to help provide that resiliency and that reliability that our customers, expect from us 100 years on, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, speaking to that, let's change gears just a little bit. You said all the investments you make, like in your community and stuff. Let's talk about that a little bit, about the foundation that Mississippi Power has and how that lets you give back and put into the community. Let's talk about that just a little bit.
Absolutely. And then I want to toss it to Dirk, too, to see kind of like some localized projects here in Lucedale. So, Mississippi Power is committed to the communities that we've served. We've been here for 100 years, and we haven't just been serving customers and getting the lights on for 100 years. We've really been integrated into the communities. We live here, we work here, our families families are here. It's where our roots are, right? And so we have the Mississippi Power Foundation, which really focuses on big transformational projects across our service territory. You'll see things like small business grants come out of the foundation, really huge things that really make impactful changes across Southeast Mississippi. We also have community connection chapters. I love community connection. These are chapters within our company that employees volunteer for. So as a new employee, you come in, you can look based on your work location. I'm on the coast. I'm in Gulfport, so I joined the coast chapter of Community Connection. And so what's cool about that is they're their own nonprofit. They have their own budgets. They have their own fundraisers, and they get to pick local nonprofits to serve. And so if they, if that's United Way, if that's a food pantry, just all the nonprofits, if it's foster children, CASA, right? They can pick those projects, and they do. I mean, that's manpower, it's fun. So they may donate, but they also may go out and get their hands dirty and volunteer. So really cool things. Our employees are so passionate about serving the community, so that gives them an outlet to be able to do that, which is really incredible. It's really fun to see. It's things like our Renew Our Rivers program. So we get to go out on the waterways and clean those up. Right. And that's been going on for, I think 25, 26 years now. Okay. And then, like I said, you've got all these smaller projects that our employees on their own, they get together and they think, what are the causes that we care about in our community? How can we make a difference? Yeah. And so it's been really cool. And I know we've got some exciting things happening here in Lucedale too.
We do. Tell us about that. Dirk.
So I'll tell you the history about it. Okay. All right. So I was tasked to look for a project, that we could contribute to, that would impact our community. And fate has it, is when Mayor Darwin Nelson was still here. And he approached me with the project about the stage in the park. Yep. And we discussed it, and me and him got started looking at how it would impact the community. And I did not realize that 18,000 people would come to this event.
They do. So did you ever work Praising the Park? Like, did you ever volunteer during that time?
Well, I was always making sure the power
was... That's right. Okay, go ahead. I was just wondering.
So I always made sure the power was there and the lighting was like it should, because we had to go through the park and disconnect lights for the stage lights whenever they bring stages in.
Yeah, I do remember
that.
So,
yeah, okay. I was a part of it. But so me and Mayor Nelson got together, and I presented to our company, and so we partnered with the city along with y'all, and that's how the stage became.
I know.
And so I'm looking forward to seeing the first.
I really am
show.
too. So we had Mayor Jones, Coach Jones is what we call him. He's the new mayor here. Awesome. And Dirk and I actually, we know him personally, but we actually went through the leadership program with him a few years ago. Okay. So of course we are very high on him. We love him. Yeah. But he was here earlier in the year, and he was talking about the partnership and what a great thing that's been for the city to actually be able to receive that from y'all. Yeah. So I think that's a great thing. What other communities that y'all serve on the coast have y'all been able to partner with and things like that?
Yeah, so truly every single one. I mean, that, and when I talk about, I was just talking about grid investments, right? Well, we have community investments too. And so we've been so privileged to have such wonderful partnerships with nonprofits from here all the way up through Meridian, so that if they need something, for example, we had, this year we had snow, right? But this was the second year in a row that we had pretty significant cold weather. Yes. So last year it was around the same thing. We didn't get the snow, but we got those freezing temperatures. And so we had requests coming in from some of our community partners. We need blankets. We need the pieces that go to insulate pipes. And so we were able to rally our community connection chapters to get those supplies donated very quickly, and so they could distribute out to the folks that need them. And so we're constantly looking for things like that. And then when we look at, the Mississippi Power Foundation, it's small business grants, it's facade grants, it's looking at things in education. What can we do? How can we plug in? Is it partnering with, our workforce development, the community colleges now? We've partnered with them to bring lineman programs, right? So that we can train up and get the best of the best for the future workforce, right? A lot of people sometimes talk about the brain drain in Mississippi. I think it's getting better. And I think part of that is having those partnerships to develop that next generation of workforce to keep them here. They're raised here. You want them to work here too. And so it's partnering with universities and community colleges and schools, and to talk about, STEM and those types of, and get kids excited, about learning and about their future careers and staying local in Mississippi.
So we do that here too. Yeah. I mean, I typically once a year go to the high schools and speak to the kids
I've seen pictures of those.
Yeah.
Like in the vocational,
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And promote just becoming a lineman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, that's a great.
And then
I'm
we
glad
also
you
do the career days.
Do y'all?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we set up a booth.
We do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's all, it really, it's been, it's great. We have employees like Dirk that are so plugged in. So when he hears of an opportunity, he can run that back and then we can say, okay, how can we support that?
Right.
How can we support this nonprofit? How can we support this school? What can we do to strengthen our communities?
Yeah. So backing up just a second to like the stage funding, and of course that was a really big project.
Yes.
So and of course, Mr. Nelson was the mayor at that time. So did he reach out to you? So for anybody watching, like, what is the process? Do they need to reach out to their local manager? No. He just reached out to you because he knew you.
Whenever we have funds available.
Okay.
And so it's typically, let me put it this way. I've always got my ears and eyes open.
Okay.
For looking for opportunities to reach out to the community and to help. Is whenever it's available. If that makes sense to you.
Yes. It does.
And we have specifically the Mississippi Power Foundation. This is funded by company stakeholders and shareholders, not customers, right? But they've got their pillars of giving. And so, like I mentioned, it's going to be things like education, environmental stewardship. Another cool thing on the coast that we got to be a part of was oyster shell recycling.
Okay.
And so it was Save Our Shells. And so we noticed out in Hancock County, out in the Bay, a lot of those reefs had kind of deteriorated over the last several years. And so partnering with other restaurants and the casinos to get recycled oyster shells and then putting them back and making an artificial reef. And so really cool stuff. And so we've got those certain pillars: environmental education, education, building, kind of those just community investments like the business grants, things like that. So they have their certain pillars, I guess, that they really want to focus on because we want to make that transformational change,
That's right.
Yeah. That's very interesting. No, I had not heard of that at all.
Yeah,
Save the
it
shells.
was really cool. It was 2 days of like hard manual work. I was out there like shoveling oyster shells. I did not know what I was signing up for.
And I've seen the pictures of that.
Yeah,
Did you
right.
take Dirk too?
No, I didn't make that.
No, we didn't come down. We had another crew. It's okay. So it was a lot of work, and then but we had really great, like I said, community partners for that, and that was the Nature Conservancy. But Outage helped us with that, so it was really cool. But it's neat just finding those kind of large scale initiatives on top of the smaller things too. Like we said, going and talking to a school, that makes all the difference too. When you have a student that maybe they don't know what's out there for them, and they see someone like Dirk that's got a wonderful career, and maybe think, oh, I can do that. Maybe I want to do that too. And so we try to just build up that next generation of workforce.
Yeah. So with that being said, just to kind of finish that out on the foundation.
Yeah.
So if you are a community leader, if you are a school leader, things like that, like the pillars that you said that where y'all are wanting to look to invest in the community. So how would they go about reaching out to you? Is that through your website? Is that through?
Yeah, I would reach out. We have got some information about that on our website.
Okay.
And then Dirk, I might throw you under the bus. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you've got someone, if it's Lucedale, right? If it's local,
So
like he's got his ears to the ground.
So that's why I'm involved in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
Like we were told that we're voluntold.
Voluntold, that's right.
And he's got those channels, but it is a process.
That's why I'm a member of Rotary. That's why Chamber of Commerce. That's why we do the school events. I'm constantly in contact with all of you community leaders. Constantly. So I'm always.
So you're in the know, and
yes.
that helps you be educated and know which way you need to
And we see the
look.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We hear of them.
That's great.
And then we analyze them to see what kind of impact and what it will do for the future, and we go from there.
That's right.
Well, that's a great thing. Like, I honestly didn't know that that there was a foundation that was connected to your company until we had the conversation about the stage and things like that. And then I was trying to look into that as we were getting ready for this episode.
That's just one of them that we've done here.
One of them. Okay. Well, good.
So
we'll talk about the rest of them later. All right. Well, I want to back up really quick. I know we talked about this earlier. Do you have a personal story about Katrina? Like,
absolutely.
Tell me. Give me one.
All right. So I was in my 20s.
Yep.
And I was a young lineman. I had been working on the road for, let's say 4 or 5 years. So I had plenty of storm restoration experience working in the bucket. But I was tasked to lead 6 crews. I wasn't working in the bucket.
Wow.
And so I'm looking at older men that's been doing it for way longer than me, and I'm being the storm restoration leader. All right, so that was one thing that scared me, but it was working great until the fourth day. The fourth day, we ran out of food.
Oh, wow. So where were you at during this time?
All right, so this time it was the year before I hired on from Mississippi Power. I was in a neighboring county in Alabama.
Okay.
All right, but it was still heavily impacted.
Yes.
And so the fourth day we run out of food, and I'm like, oh my Lord, what am I going to do? There's no food. And yeah, I guess it was just an angel. I guess God sent an angel, but there was a lady to come. She had tons of food, and she said, our church is feeding y'all today.
Wow.
But I was worried.
Yeah.
I was worried.
But it just works
yes,
out.
And then
I
I cannot remember how many days it was before I went home. I slept on the floor, on a concrete floor. We was working 20 hours a day, no less. It was unreal. I can remember seeing huge trees fall. I can remember going out there, and we shouldn't have been out there, and we will never do it again. But that was 20 years ago. 20, yeah. So I can remember trees falling while we were out there trying to get feeders back up.
Wow.
And we had to stop and go and take protection.
Well, and probably too during that time you had a plan.
We had a plan,
but yet what you were actually living in real life and going through didn't actually fit into your box of a plan.
You got to think about it. Everybody. It wasn't just the linemen that needed water. It was everybody in the community that needed water. And so water was going so fast, it was unreal. I mean, and food. Yeah, all the grocery stores was closed.
And so speaking of, just to the resilience of the community, the people, who we are as a state, as a community. So like your story right there, that I feel like that's so heartwarming in a time that you were so tired, so maybe so defeated, kind of in what was going on. And like you said, I mean, it was just a glimpse of, all right, this is what I'm out here doing it for. I'm sitting in this bucket for 20 hours to get that lady's lights back.
That's right. So the linemen that listen to this podcast, they'll understand when I say this. All right, it's a switch. All right, so when storm restoration comes on, it's a switch. You turn it on and you just work. And you do not, yes, you get tired, but it's just like, no, I'm keeping going. But whenever all the power is restored, the switch goes off and you crash.
You got to go somewhere for a day or two.
And there's so many stories about the community really rallying together that we've heard. We're doing our own kind of coverage of Katrina. 20 years on, we have just right at 20% of our workforce that was here during Katrina, that's still here today. But as you can imagine, people are retiring and that number is dwindling. So we've done our own, just trying to archive and get stories like Dirk's and stuff. But so many of that common theme of that community just really pulling together, of finding that energy to just keep going and that motivation. Someone said, I love this quote, someone from it was the Pine Belt Storm Director. He said that, it's kind of in the DNA of a utility worker. You just got to show up, you get it on. So it wasn't like we had to motivate everybody. Everybody was already motivated to show up. And so, so I was young still, but watching my dad, I mean, it was very long days, but he said, how he talked about how rewarding it was to be able to get those lights back on. And then 20 years, someone like Dirk, you've been here now, you've gotten to see that community grow and come back, better than ever, stronger than ever, It's
a feeling like no other whenever someone's power's been off for over a week and hadn't had their normal, day-to-day normal life. Yeah. And their lights come on and their kids are running out in the yard dancing. It's unreal. That's the greatest feeling. That's why I do what I do.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Well, so speaking of storm preparedness and just kind of your story, let's talk a little bit about that. So I was looking at some tips, like before, after, during. Tell me what you think, Dirk, is your top 5 things that you would, like, if somebody's like, Dirk, it's coming, the storm's coming, like, what do I need to do? Top 5 things.
Number 1 thing is water.
Water?
Yeah, have plenty of water on hand at home. I would say number 2 would be if you have any medications, I would definitely, make sure I got the proper medications that I need. Number 3, food supply as always.
That's right.
Number 4, I would say you need some lights, some flashlights, whatever. And if it's like, if it's heating, like if we're doing an ice storm, during an ice storm, you're going to need some heat. And so try to make that, a hurricane, we can open up the windows, get in the shade, but during an ice storm, you can't.
That's right.
You got to have some heat. So I would make sure I'd have a way to heat my home, or heat at least one room where my children could sleep.
That's right.
But that would be my top 5.
Okay.
And I would add it. I think the number 1, we talk about how much we plan and prepare as a company, right? And it's, year-round planning. I mean, it's constant. So we want our customers to do the same thing. Yeah. We are coming up on the 20-year anniversary of Katrina, but also this is the peak. I mean, classified as peak hurricane season, right? So mid-August through now, they're almost extending it through a little bit early October. And so if you haven't yet, you've got to have a plan.
That's right.
What does that look like for your family? When do you stay? When do you leave? If you're going to leave, do you have multiple evacuation routes in case you get into a Katrina situation where the roads were, it was last minute evacuations, right? So that clogged up the roads. And then review that with your family as well and make sure that they know if your kids, they know what to do. And then check on your neighbors. It's always good to be able to check in on, especially if, elderly neighbors or people that may not know and what to do. Maybe it's their first storm season, right? If they moved in here. So checking on each other, but having a plan is absolutely key. Having your storm kit, all those things that Dirk just mentioned, storm kit,
and,
have it ready.
All of it doesn't have to be in the top, from one, but I say water because you can't survive without water. We can go a few days without food.
Yeah.
It's not going to kill us, but we cannot
go
without water.
Chips here and there will be all right.
And you cannot go without medication.
Even,
but there's other things that you need to do too as well.
Yeah.
So pick up your yard because you don't want things flying around, coming through the windows of your home. Put it in your shed, garage, whatever you can do. But pick up your yard. That plays a big key.
And I think start early because how many people wait until do that last minute grocery store run and then you can't find anything. Yes. So if you review your plan now and you look at what you need in your storm kit, have those essentials ready to go because again, it's not even about, of course, hurricane. We're in the peak hurricane season, but y'all have seen the weather we've gotten this summer, just those pop-up thunderstorms.
Yes.
You just never know. You get under tornado warnings and things like that. And so you just want to always be prepared, always know what your plan is going to be. That is critical. And they can actually, our customers can go to our website. We call it our Storm Center on our website. And we've got what to do before, during, and after a storm, different resources and tips that they can.
You never know what's going to happen.
No, you really don't.
It's just like the tornado that hit Leaksville. There was 41 broke poles in a matter of 30 minutes.
Wow. That was earlier this year?
No, that was in 2012.
But didn't they have something bad? Didn't Lakesville have a bad storm earlier this year? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking
the lightning has been really bad here. It's been up.
Well, so I wanted to hear what y'all's top five were because whenever I was looking on the website, the top one was charge your cell phone. I kind of got tickled about that a little bit.
That is, charge your devices because it's
true.
funny. It's not just to check Facebook, but it's to stay tuned into weather alerts.
Yes, right. Because your power's going to go out, your TV's going to go out, all the things.
Yeah, and when we talk about what resources Mississippi Power has, we've got outage alerts, and so maybe you are evacuating, right? And so you're going to leave your home behind, your business or something. You can sign up for an outage alert just to know what that situation is. So definitely charge all your devices. Make sure everything is stocked
yours
and ready.
And your children's. Be sure theirs are charged too.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, yes. I'm not going to talk about that, but yes. Because here's the thing. So you never know when somebody's devices actually is a life-saving piece of equipment for somebody that's monitoring their heart or monitoring if they have seizures, and it goes through your phone.
Well, kind of that's what I thought about too. This form said charge your cell phone, but so we actually have a neighbor, and she's an elderly lady, and so she, of course, has those medical necessity machines that she needs. So I was like, that's really important. But after the storm, let's talk about after the storm. And one thing I read too that I've never thought about it before, it made total sense, but I've never thought about it before. It said turn your air conditioner down while you can or before it gets really bad to cool your house so that you can keep that cool air in. Be sure and keep your doors and stuff closed. And that should help you for like maybe 48 hours. Stay at least somewhat of a manageable cool. Is that kind of right, Dirk?
It depends on, it depends on the weather. It depends on kind of the house. I mean, when we saw Hurricane Zeta, that was around end of October. So it was actually pretty cool out.
It was cool
but that is a great tip to just kind of, we have that listed as well, just to kind of try to insulate your home. Staying indoors and off the road. I know staying off the road is going to help Dirk because even if you don't see a bucket up in the air restoring your lights, I can guarantee you they're out assessing, right? Yes. Driving. And so, and not just our crews, but, other first responders as well. So staying off those roads, staying away from down power lines, of course. But really, if that time just maybe focusing on your house, your yard, stay kind of close knit because we're all out there trying to get those lights back on for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm sure, especially in our rural neighborhood and things like that, it is quite the challenge to keep some people off the roads, I'm sure.
It is. That's probably one of the hardest challenges that we have.
Well, everybody needs to see what's going on.
It's a safety, we want everybody to be safe. We want everybody to be safe.
Everybody wants to see the damage. And so they get out, their house is okay, and they want to go see everybody, check on everybody else and see what the damage is. And we're out there trying to assess, and it's just hard. Trying to navigate around them, and we're trying to do it quickly and fast as possible. Yeah. And it becomes a challenge.
One other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Dirk, and probably you're going to be more of the expert on this, was generator safety. So speak to us a little bit about that. We know most people, want to keep generators, and a lot of people have them. But let's talk a little bit about safety and the true way to really kind of put those together with your home.
All right, so let me talk about portable generators. Just to start with. Okay, so do not leave your portable generator inside the garage, okay? Because the fumes of the generator could cause some major damage, health damage. Yep. And do not plug it into the wall.
The wall?
Yes. So some people will take an extension cord and replace the end of it to where they can plug it into the wall. They plug it in the generator. When they do that, it generates the whole house. And so when that happens, it goes back through the power line, back through our transformers, and it will step the voltage back up to 7,000 volts.
Wow.
Which can be fatal to anybody that's around.
For sure.
And so don't do that. And then on a house generator, make sure you have a qualified, licensed electrician to install it.
Okay.
That way he will install a proper disconnect switch, whether it's manual or automated.
Yeah. So I know in the last several years, just, real estate loans and home loans, that's predominantly what I do. We've had a lot of that lately. People are building that into the cost of their constructions, and they're wanting those installed at construction. So, I mean, if that's an option for you, if somebody can afford to go that route, is that the safest and best option?
I absolutely recommend it, yes, if it's properly installed.
Right.
And I'll just add, too, we've been very fortunate the last couple of years where maybe you haven't had to use a generator at all. So anytime you get into a situation, especially with a portable generator, make sure that you before you're in the moment of hooking it up, go back through the safety manual, make sure every single one is different. So you want to make sure that you're familiar, because maybe it's been years since you've had to even take that thing out of the shed and hook it up. And so, don't just go off your memory or the last time you used it, or maybe it's your first time ever using one. So really, they can be, they're great, and they can be great to have after a storm, but they can also be very dangerous.
And that's something that needs to be done before a storm as well. You need to, if you have a generator, you need to check and make sure it has the proper fuel and oil, and that everything's working properly on it. You don't want to be after the storm trying to get your generator running and it's not functioning like it should.
Or trying to buy one.
Or trying to buy one. Yeah. Or trying to go get fuel for one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have fuel on hand.
So backing up to what you said just a while ago, so plugging it into directly to the wall of the inside of your house?
Yes.
I don't think I knew that was an option. Or it
should not be an option.
I don't think I knew people did that.
Well, there's crafty people out there.
Okay.
And so all you have to do is put the right connection on one end of an extension cord and plug it into your wall and plug it into your generator. Electricity doesn't care where it flows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to flow. If it's got a conductor, it'll flow through it. Okay. And that's all it's doing.
All right.
So do not do that.
It will circulate your whole house, yes.
Yeah.
No, do not do that.
Do not do that.
Very dangerous.
That could be very dangerous, and it could be fatal.
Yeah. Well,
and it has took linemen's lives before.
Yeah.
And that's what's sad about it.
That really is. That's
the carelessness of people,
It is. All right, so how would one go about, let's talk about a few energy saving tips.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that. What do y'all truly promote as what your top energy saving tips are?
Absolutely. So we are we're in the middle of hurricane season. We're also in the middle, probably the hottest part of the year right now. And we've been seeing it. And actually, we're in August now, but in July alone, I think there were 20 plus days where the heat index was in the triple digits. So really extreme heat that we've been having here across Southeast Mississippi. So this is the time when we start talking about energy savings, not just when it's hot, but kind of in the shoulder seasons, like right before you get into the really high part of the year with the temperatures, is let's turn our energy habits. Let's start building better energy habits. So the first thing that you need to do, if you haven't, is let's do an audit on our house. Let's walk around and see where are the leaks. Are there any gaps between the bottom of your door right here, around windows? Pop over to a hardware store, get caulk, get weather stripping, and seal that, because we want our nice cool air to stay in, right? Yeah, yes. We don't want it, and your unit's going to have to work harder. A couple other things as you're walking around your house, look at your outdoor unit. If you've got, growth like bushes or overgrowth over it, if there's debris around it, maybe you're storing some yard supplies by it, that needs to be totally clear so that unit can run as efficiently as possible. And another thing, kind of Dirk talked about it, that expert, having somebody, a licensed person, come out and check your HVAC system to make sure that it's running as efficiently as possible. Replacing your air filter does make a difference, especially if you have pets. I have a dog that sheds really bad. I've got to stay on top of our air filter. Again, that's about making sure that your unit is running as efficiently as possible. And then if you want, we could talk about the thermostat. That's hard. People don't love the number, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about the number. Yeah. Dirk threw the number out the other day, and I was like,
yes. So here's the deal. When we are in spring and you want your house to be 70 degrees, and maybe it's only 75 degrees outside, that's only a 5-degree gap that your unit has to make up, right, to maintain that temperature. We're in August now. Like I said, triple digit, heat index. So if you want 70 and it feels like 100, that's now 30 degrees that we're trying to maintain. Yes. So your system is going to be running probably all day long. Versus in the spring, it may cut on, cut off, right? And it's having to work hard to cool your home. And so the closer that you can get to 78, there's that number. I know.
78.
I know. But it's there for a reason. The closer you can get to 78, and that's just really because we're making up that difference, the more that you're going to see savings on your bill. And so even if you want to keep it, you don't bump it up until you leave, right? We're back to school. I think most students are back in school now if parents are working outside of the house. So when you leave, you can bump it up, just a little bit more than you thought. And then as you come in, you can set it back to stay comfortable. But those are some of the things that you can do. The cool tool that Mississippi Power has is if you go on our website, if you're a customer, we've got something called My Power Usage.
Okay.
And through My Power Usage, you can also sign up for daily usage alerts. I do this. It's really funny. And you can see how much energy you're using throughout the day. So I know on a weekend when I'm home, it's been hot, we've been staying inside a lot, I've been running my unit, I can actually see that spike, and then you can assess that and say, well, what can I do to make it difference? And if you actually want some customized tips, you can take an online home energy checkup. Yep. So it's going to analyze your usage. It's going to say, okay, here's where most of your usage is coming from, and here are some tips. And one of those might be if it's a Saturday and you're doing laundry, you're running the dishwasher, right? And then you're also cooling your home. You're using a lot of energy.
Using a lot, yeah.
So maybe you switch your habit to, I'm going to wake up first thing in the morning, and I'm going to go ahead and run the dishwasher real quick. Or actually, right before I go to bed, I'm going to go ahead and turn that dishwasher on.
That's actually when I turn mine on.
That's right. And then same thing with your washer and dryer for laundry. Wait till you have a full load and then run it maybe in the early morning hours or the evening hours. It's not the hottest point of the day because you already know that your HVAC is going to be running at that time. And so you just kind of want to help that usage where you're not working overtime. So it'll offer you tips like that, but it's all about understanding where your usage is coming from and how you want to manage that. And the better you manage it, it seems small, but that's going to build up to savings too.
Right. And we can find that on your website.
That's right. We have an energy savings toolkit.
I'm going to talk about one that nobody ever hears about, and it is not on our website.
Okay.
All right. So we're in South Mississippi. Everybody has freezers, right?
Yep.
All right. Some people have freezers on their back porch. And when the sun shifts from winter to summer, it gets exposed to sunlight. Yes. Well, if your freezer is exposed to sunlight, it's not shutting off as well.
That's right.
And so if you have the opportunity to put it inside to a controlled atmosphere, it would save you some money.
And Dirk, so many people.
And that would save you money from wear and tear because your freezer eventually is going.
Yeah. And like that, I just have people running through my mind. So many people I know that their freezer is outside or in their garage or whatever.
Yeah. But I don't have them in direct sunlight.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I never would have thought about that. That's a great. That's a
it's
great
just
tip.
it really is about learning where about 50% of the home's energy usage is going to come from your HVAC, so that's the biggest one, right? So that's why we talk about that a lot. But if your HVAC is making sure it's running as efficiently as possible, and then making sure everything, checking that outdoor unit, and then those gaps around your home. That's something that's easy. That's low cost, no cost things that you can do. And we have a Mississippi Power marketplace, so if you want to upgrade to a smart thermostat, so that way if you're like me, I'll leave and I'll be like, I think I left the thermostat kind of low. I didn't bump it up. You can do it from your phone. And so on the marketplace, there's an instant rebate. So you can shop different versions of a smart thermostat. They have all sorts of brands. As soon as you add to that cart, that rebate kicks in automatically. And so you can find one that fits your budget, which is really exciting.
Perfect. That's great. Okay.
And I mean, this is the time of year we do experience a whole lot of, I'm going to put it as high bill concerns.
Yes.
And the first question I always ask is, what is your thermostat set at? And 9 times out of 10, well, I've got it on 70. And I'm like, well,
do you need it on 70?
Do you need it on 70? And yes, I bump it down to 64 at night, and I'm like, well, that's your problem right there.
64, my.
That's the reason I'd be.
You would be amazed at the people that you hear, like, man, I'm not sweating.
Well,
I'm like, I don't sweat at 70.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if we talk about bills too, we do have different programs. So we have budget billing. I know a lot of people on budget billing. So that's going to average. If you're in a long term, this isn't going to be best for maybe short term renters, but if you're in a home or a long term apartment or something like that where you're going to be there longer than a year, it can average your annual usage, and then your power bill is consistent.
Yes.
So you just know what to expect.
It benefits our
and so
elderly.
that helps a lot.
It really benefits our elderly that are on a fixed income.
That's right. So that's a great thing. We also do have Project Share. That is for payment assistance for customers. That's funded by Mississippi Power, the foundation, Mississippi Power employees. We can donate to that. And then our customers can actually donate. So if you want to help a neighbor, maybe that has a demonstrated financial need, you can sign up for Project Share and say, I'll donate $2 each power bill to Project Share. And since 2002, which is when Project Share started, nearly $5 million has been donated and then put back out to people in need of assistance. So since 2002, we've had
that's
that.
Program.
And so that's
y'all police that. I guess maybe that's not the right word, but you take that into consideration.
That's
if
right.
you know what income class they're in, if they're on a fixed income.
Oh yeah.
We work with a nonprofit to help distribute that fund. So Mississippi Power doesn't have any say on who gets the funds. We have a third party that assesses that, but it's people with demonstrated financial need. Like Dirk mentioned, maybe you have a fixed income, low income, maybe you have medical concerns or a medical disability, right? Yeah. And so especially, during this season, this might be helpful to do. So Project Share is year round though. So that's something that they could check our website out as well.
So all these things can be linked on your website. And also too, just at the very end here, let's say the best way to report your outage is?
Yep. So we have an outage map that updates in real time. That again is on our website. It's very easy to find. It's our outage map. So you can you can access it with your phone as well, or through our app, our Mississippi Power mobile app. There's a way to report outages that way. And it'll list the phone number that you can call. But what's great about the outage map is that it updates in real time. And so you can see where the outage is, especially during bad weather. And then as Dirk is getting those lights back on for you, it'll update in real time. So, you'll see that number fluctuate, but that's the best way to report that outage.
I think that's a great tool. I actually do like that. So
yes.
I feel like there's so many more questions we could talk about, but that is all the time we have for today.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all so much for coming.
Well, thank you so much.
I know whenever we were kind of brainstorming, Stacey and I, to kind of put this idea together, especially during this exact time of the year, I was really looking forward to this episode. I thought
we appreciate you have. I mean, we talked a lot of safety messages, storm messages.
Yes.
So we just hope that our customers know they can get a lot of information from our website, from our social media channels. Have to plug that, right?
Yes,
so Facebook and Instagram. But this is a time to stay prepared, stay safe. And if they need anything from us, I mean, again, our website and social media pages have something, and call Dirk. Just
call Dirk. That phone rings constantly. So
we appreciate you having us on here, and we look forward for more things to stay connected to our community.
Yes, absolutely. We do too. We do too. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank y'all for joining us, and as always, like and share. Follow us on social media, wherever you get your podcast, and y'all have a great day.